Block 1. The sentence no mother would ever expect to hear. She was only 5 years old, but she spoke like someone who had already lived an entire lifetime. And the first time she opened her mouth to talk about what she remembered, her mother felt her whole body freeze, as if someone had turned off all the lights inside her. Because those words didn't belong to a child, they belonged to someone the whole world knew and tragically lost. The story begins in Brighton, on the southern coast of England, a city of unpredictable winds, old streets, and an atmosphere that mixes sea breeze, nostalgia, and silence. It was an ordinary March afternoon when Claire, the mother, noticed her daughter in the bedroom playing with porcelain dolls, but in a strange way, almost too meticulous, lining them up side by side as if she were preparing an important meeting. Suddenly, without warning, a sentence cut through the air. "He should never have chased me that night." Claire froze at the doorway. She stopped breathing for a few seconds, trying to understand what she had just heard. Lily kept moving the dolls, unaware of the impact of her words. The mother approached slowly, as if stepping on glass. "Who chased you, sweetheart?" The girl lifted her gaze. It wasn't a child's gaze. It was deep, serious, ancient. She said to look at the photographers. They were always there, even when I just wanted to leave. A shiver ran down Claire's spine. Photographers. Chasing. A night. The mother tried to rationalize it. Maybe Lily had heard something on TV. Maybe she had secretly watched a documentary. Maybe she was just repeating something random. Kids do that. It's normal. It's common. But it didn't feel common. Unlike most children, Lily didn't talk about cartoons, animals, or Disney princesses. She spoke as if she had memory, structured memories, feelings, scenes. And none of it made sense for someone her age. That same night, after putting her to bed, Claire heard a second sentence. Lily was murmuring in her sleep, restless, tossing from side to side. "Tell them I didn't want to enter that tunnel." Claire ran to the room, turned on the light, touched her, but she was still asleep. Only the sentence echoed in her mother's mind. The tunnel. The accident. The chase. It was impossible not to think of Diana. But Claire stepped back from that thought the way someone backs away from an abyss. She didn't believe in reincarnation. She was never involved in spirituality. She was a science teacher, a logical, rational, skeptical woman. And yet, something inside her began to collapse. The next morning, while having breakfast, Lily asked, "Mommy, when are we going back to Kensington?" Kensington. A name Lily should not know. They had never talked about it at home. They had never watched anything about Kensington on TV, and no one in the family had any connection to London. Claire tried to stay calm. "Where did you hear that name?" Lily frowned, confused by the question. "Mummy, it was our home. The big house with the garden, where I lived before." Before. That word echoed inside Claire like a bell. Before. How could a 5-year-old talk like that? "Did you dream about this?" Lily shrugged, impatient, as if her mother was too slow to understand. "It's not a dream. I remember. I used to play near the fountain, and there were always many people. I had to smile all the time." Claire almost dropped her cup. The way Lily spoke, it was as if she were reliving it. That afternoon, Claire watched Lily more closely. She played in the yard, but Claire noticed something even stranger. Lily walked with her chin up, posture perfect. Something no 5-year-old naturally does. And sometimes she lifted her dress slightly, as if she were holding a long royal skirt. even though she was wearing a simple jumpsuit. Then another detail. Lily saw a fallen fairy toy on the ground, sighed, and said, "I couldn't just be a normal woman either. They didn't let me." Who didn't let you, darling? The newspapers, the people, the flashes. She paused, touched her mother's arm, and asked, "Do you know how much it hurts when the light hits your eyes?" Claire was speechless. It was too much. She had to investigate. That night, Claire searched Kensington on her computer, and there it was. Kensington Palace, official residence of Diana. Coincidence? Maybe. Or something much bigger. The next day, Claire tested it carefully. She mixed pictures of animals, cars, celebrities, monuments, and among them a photo of Princess Diana. Lily flipped through the cards until she reached Diana's picture. Her eyes filled with tears. Her hand trembled. Her breathing changed. She touched Diana's face gently. "I miss them." "Who, sweetheart?" Lily whispered, "My boys." Claire's legs nearly gave out. Diana's boys. Before she could say any more, Lily pushed the picture away. "I don't like to remember the end. It was too fast, too loud, and too dark." Claire's heart raced. That night she explained everything to Lily's father. He tried to deny it, until the truth became impossible to ignore. And Claire understood. Something was happening that no logic could explain. She would go until the end. She would find the source of those memories. If you believe there are mysteries that challenge logic, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we bring stories that even science can't explain. Deep down, Claire knew the first answer was close, but so was the fear. And I ask you, what would you do if your daughter began remembering a life that isn't hers? Comment your opinion, because what she will reveal in the next chapter will leave you in shock.
Block 2. The first proofs that should not exist. The next morning, Claire woke up before the sun. She hadn't slept well. Every sentence Lily had said kept repeating in her mind like a persistent echo. The photographers, the tunnel, my boys. It was as if the entire house were filled with a silent presence, something suspended between doubt and truth. Lily came down the stairs with messy hair and a distant gaze, as if she were still trapped between two worlds. She sat at the table, looked at her cereal, and said, almost emotionlessly, "I didn't like that driver." "Which driver, Lily?" The girl thought for a few seconds, as if trying to recall an old and painful memory. "He didn't want to slow down, and I didn't want to get in the car, but he insisted." The mother took a deep breath. A heavy silence fell over the kitchen. Claire realized something. Lily didn't speak like a child making up stories. She spoke with the naturalness of someone who is simply remembering. Claire made a decision right then. She needed to confirm whether this was just imagination or something real, something that went beyond logic. She took her daughter's hand and said, "Let's go for a walk." Lily smiled, but it was a curious, almost uneasy smile. They walked toward the town center, through narrow streets, old shops, and the typical windy seaside air. Claire watched her closely, her posture, her gaze, her gestures. Everything about Lily seemed more mature than it should be. Then something happened at a newsstand. Lily suddenly stopped. Frozen. Her eyes went straight to an old magazine hanging on the side panel, almost hidden between faded newspapers. On the cover, a black and white picture showed Princess Diana at a public event. The girl didn't blink. She didn't move. She only whispered, "I hated when they photographed me like that, as if I weren't a person." Claire's legs trembled. This went beyond coincidences. She knelt beside her daughter and asked, Do you recognize this woman?" Lily took a few seconds before replying. Then she touched the photo gently, almost reverently. "I know her smile, because it was mine." Claire's heart stopped for a moment. That was impossible. A man buying a newspaper turned his head, curious. Claire immediately picked up Lily and walked away quickly, not looking back. The wind blew stronger, and the sound of the waves matched the pounding of her heart. Back home, Claire decided to do the most direct, yet careful test. She opened her computer and typed "Princess Diana car accident," hiding the most graphic images. She didn't want to traumatize Lily. She only needed to know, to confirm. She called Lily. "Sweetheart, I'll show you some pictures. I just want to know if you recognize anything, okay?" Lily approached cautiously. When the first image appeared, just the front of the Ritz Paris, nothing explicit, Lily slowly closed her hand, as if gripping something invisible. "I didn't want to leave that hotel." "Why?" Lily looked down, as if reliving the moment. "I was sad. I didn't want them to think I was fine. I just wanted to go home, but not like that." Claire swallowed hard. Another image appeared. Only the entrance of the Pont des Almes tunnel, photographed from a distance. No cars, just the structure. A neutral image. Even so, Lily instinctively stepped back. "No, don't show me that." Claire closed the tab immediately and hugged her daughter, feeling her small body tremble. This wasn't normal. This wasn't coincidence. That night, after Lily fell asleep, Claire talked to James. The father was now more shaken than skeptical. Everything Claire described felt unreal, yet undeniable. "Claire, if all this is true, then what are we dealing with?" Claire looked at Lily's bedroom door, slightly open, lit only by the blue glow of the baby monitor. "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's hurting our daughter." James rubbed his face. "And what are we going to do?" "We'll find the origin of these memories." "But how?" Claire spent hours researching. Psychologists, similar cases, children remembering past lives, academic studies from the University of Virginia. Every new page felt like stepping into unknown, uncomfortable, dangerous territory. But while she read, something happened in the room next door. Lily started crying in her sleep. Claire ran there. The girl was sitting up, eyes closed, breathing fast, as if trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape. "They surrounded me. I said I didn't want to. I said—" Claire hugged her. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're here. You're safe." Lily opened her eyes, a look full of pain, a pain no 5-year-old should ever carry. "Why couldn't I get out of the car, Mommy?" Claire's world collapsed. How could a child so young know such details? How could she describe sensations, emotions, and scenes she had never lived? And why did she seem to remember not just facts, but deep feelings? That night, Claire made her hardest decision. She would take Lily to London, not for tourism, not for fun, but to face the truth, whatever it was that lived inside her daughter's memories. She needed to know if Lily would recognize Kensington, if she would feel anything, if the city itself would awaken memories that shouldn't exist. Without realizing it, Claire had opened the door to something that would change everything. If you believe there are mysteries that challenge even science itself, subscribe to this channel and activate notifications. Now I ask you, faced with these first proofs, what would you do in this mother's place? Comment your opinion, because what comes next shocked everyone.
Block 3. The return to London and the memory that didn't belong to her. The morning of the trip began in silence, as if the whole house were holding its breath. Claire packed the suitcases with tense movements, while Lily watched from the doorway, hugging the teddy bear she never let go. But there was something different in the girl's eyes, a kind of restlessness that was not childish. It was as if she sensed something important was about to happen. When they got into the car, Lily leaned her forehead against the window and said a sentence that made Claire freeze. "I've taken this road before, many times." But Lily had never been to London. The road stretched between green fields and low clouds. For long stretches, Lily remained silent. In others, she made comments that simply should not exist in the mind of a 5-year-old child. "There was always a lot of traffic here. That road always made me nervous. There were always people waiting, even when I said I was tired." Claire exchanged glances with James. They both knew this went far beyond simple explanations, and every sentence Lily spoke had the same cadence, the same melancholic tone, as if she were reliving the routine of someone who had carried the weight of the world. When they arrived in London, Lily curled up a little in her seat. It wasn't fear, it was familiarity, like someone returning to a place she no longer called home, but still recognized. As the car moved through the busy streets, something unexpected happened. Lily began guiding the route. "Don't turn there, Daddy. Take the other street, the wider one." James braked, confused. "Lily, how do you know that?" She pointed, serious. "I always used the wider road when I was with them, for the security cars." Claire felt a cold shiver run through her body. The security cars, the royal family convoys. They followed Lily's directions, not because they believed, but because they feared contradicting an instinct that didn't seem to be hers. And then, just a few blocks from Kensington, Lily started breathing faster. "We're getting close." Claire held her daughter's hand, trying to keep her calm. "It's okay, sweetheart. We're just going for a walk, remember?" But Lily didn't answer. She was completely absorbed, eyes fixed ahead, as if she recognized every pole, every tree, every corner. And then, when the golden gates of Kensington appeared between the buildings, Lily whispered, "My home." Claire swallowed hard, feeling a pain that wasn't hers. Lily asked to get out of the car. The voice wasn't childish, it was deep, almost urgent. When her feet touched the sidewalk, something even more astonishing happened. Lily walked toward the gates slowly, observing every detail. She didn't touch the metal, but kept her hands close, as if afraid to make contact. Her eyes filled with tears. "I never liked these gates. They were cold. I just wanted them to let me go out alone sometimes." Claire froze. James barely breathed beside her. Inside, tourists took photos. Tour guides spoke about Diana, about past events, about history. But Lily didn't seem to hear any of it. She looked at the palace like someone who remembers a home she would never inhabit anymore. A tour guide approached the group nearby. In that fraction of a second, Lily held her mother's arm and said, "I used to play near that fountain." Claire turned. The fountain wasn't big nor remarkable. It was unlikely a 5-year-old child would know something so specific. "How do you know that, Lily?" Because I ran there when I was sad. No one followed me that closely in that part of the garden. It was quieter. The words cut through Claire like blades. The guide heard the last phrase and smiled politely, thinking Lily was just imagining things. But Lily stared at him with a strange, deep look and added, "The big tree wasn't broken back then." Claire looked. The tree was split in half, struck by a storm years earlier, something Lily could not possibly know. The guide's eyes widened. That happened in 2014. Very recently, this little girl wasn't even born yet. The silence that followed was heavy. Claire felt she was crossing an invisible line, one that separated the possible from the impossible. And the further she went, the more she realized there was no turning back. Lily took a few steps back, held her head, and murmured, "I don't want to remember the rest." James rushed to her. "What, sweetheart?" Lily closed her eyes. "The dark." Claire knelt, terrified. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" The girl took a deep breath, opened her eyes slowly, and asked, "Mom, why couldn't I save them?" Claire lost her breath, her voice, her ground. Lily wiped her face with her sleeve. There was no drama, no invention. There was pain, deep, adult pain, ancient pain. Then something even stranger happened. Lily turned, saw a group of tourists looking at a statue of Diana, and walked toward it, drawn to something even she couldn't understand. She stood in front of the statue for long seconds. Then, in a fragile whisper, she said, "They made my face too sad. I really did smile." Claire felt her world collapse. How could a 5-year-old child make such a sensitive, intimate, precise observation? James pulled Claire aside. "Claire, this is serious, very serious." She didn't answer. She could only stare at Lily, so small, so innocent, yet carrying something far greater than her age. When they returned to the car, Lily didn't cry. She stayed silent, watching the city she seemed to recognize. And before falling asleep in the back seat, she murmured, "I want to see my boys." Claire held her hand, voice trembling. "Which boys, sweetheart?" "Mine." And she fell asleep. Claire stayed frozen, feeling her daughter's words burn through her chest. She knew that trip hadn't brought answers. It had brought more questions. If you believe there are mysteries that challenge human logic, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We bring new, incredible stories every week. Now I ask you, if your daughter recognized a place she had never been, what would you do? Comment your opinion. Let's move together to the second-to-last chapter to uncover the mystery of this girl.
Block 4. The encounter with memories no one could explain. The silence inside the car felt louder than the traffic in London. Claire looked through the rearview mirror, watching Lily sleep, but it wasn't the light sleep of a child. It was a restless sleep, as if she were fighting memories that did not belong to her. James drove slowly, focused on the road, but also on his own fear, because, even without admitting it, he knew they were dealing with something that went beyond any logic. When they arrived at the hotel, Claire laid Lily on the bed and sat beside her for several minutes. The girl's delicate face seemed to carry a weight that didn't match her age, an adult weight, a historical weight. And then, out of nowhere, Lily opened her eyes. She wasn't scared. She was aware. "Mom, I remember the smell." Claire leaned closer. "The smell of what, sweetheart?" Lily tightened her grip on the pillow. "The leather seat. It was dark, and it had perfume." Claire's heart raced. She tried to remain calm. "Perfume?" Lily nodded. "His." Claire almost asked whose, but her voice locked before it could escape. Lily continued, "He was kind, but he was nervous that night." Claire took a deep breath, gathering the courage to keep listening. Nervous why? Lily closed her eyes. Because they were following too close. The room seemed to shrink. Claire hugged her daughter and tried to redirect her to a lighter memory. "Sweetheart, do you remember anything from before? Something happy?" Lily thought for a few seconds and then smiled softly. "My boys." The phrase pierced Claire like an arrow. Lily had never referred to her own children with any word other than that. It wasn't a childish expression, it was affectionate. But something even more disturbing was about to happen. The next morning, Claire decided to take her to another place in the city. Not just any place, a place many avoided out of respect, and others visited seeking answers. The Pont d'Alma Tunnel. Not to traumatize Lily, but to understand, to discover how far those memories reached. When the car approached the area, Lily suddenly woke up as if she had been pushed back into a past that wasn't hers. She sat up straight and gripped her mother's hand tightly. "No, I don't want to go there." Claire looked at James. Both were overtaken by a mix of fear and hesitation. "We're not going inside, sweetheart. We'll just look from a distance, okay?" But Lily kept staring at the tunnel as if she saw something they could not see. And then she whispered, "It was fast, so fast." Claire touched her daughter's face. "Sweetheart, do you remember what happened?" Lily shook her head. "No, I only remember the light and the noise." James parked at a safe distance, far enough not to approach, but close enough to see. Tourists took pictures, unaware of what that moment meant for that family. Lily turned her body, placed her hand on the window, and murmured, "I asked him to stop." Claire closed her eyes. It was too much, too painful. But it wasn't invention. Lily's tone, the emotion, the physical reaction, nothing felt rehearsed. It was as if she were trapped between two lives, one lived and one borrowed. "Let's get out of here," Claire said, voice forced into calm. Just as they were about to leave, Lily touched her mother's shoulder and asked, "Why did they put flowers there?" Claire swallowed hard. "To remember someone special, sweetheart." But Lily didn't accept the simple answer. "But it wasn't out here. It was inside." And she pointed exactly to the spot where, according to the official reports, the car had lost control. Claire pulled Lily close, as if trying to shield her from the very memory she claimed. But Lily didn't cry. She didn't panic. She just looked. Deep. Distant. Old. That night, in absolute silence, Claire did something she had avoided out of fear. She called a child psychologist who specialized in regressions and spontaneous memories, not to induce anything, but to understand whether this was common, whether other children had gone through something similar. The answer was devastating. Children between 2 and 6 often have spontaneous past life memories, but 80% disappear as they grow up. The problem, Mrs. Foster, is when the memories are traumatic. Claire felt her body tremble. "What should I do?" The psychologist paused before answering. "Listen. Don't confront, don't deny, and most importantly, observe. These memories have patterns. They follow an internal logic." Claire looked down at Lily, sleeping in her arms. An internal logic. But which one? The next day, before returning to Brighton, Claire took one last step, a risky step. She took Lily to a small memorial dedicated to Diana, a quiet space, surrounded by flowers and photos left by admirers. There was no one there besides them. The wind blew gently, carrying the scent of white flowers. Lily approached slowly. She looked at a specific photo and touched the glass. That day was good. I was happy. I felt peace. Claire approached her. You remember that day? Lily answered without hesitation. I remember now. Claire's heart stopped for a second. That wasn't just memory. It was reconstruction, recognition. And then, for the first time, Lily asked a question she shouldn't know how to ask. Mom, can I still see them? Claire blinked, holding back tears. Who, sweetheart? Lily rested her head on her mother's arm. My boys. And something inside Claire broke. She didn't know if she was listening to her daughter or a longing that crossed decades. If you believe there are mysteries that defy logic, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Now, I ask you, if your daughter began remembering an accident she never lived, how would you react? Comment your opinion, because the final revelation in the next block will shock you.
Block 5. The answer that doesn't close the mystery, but opens a path. The return to Brighton was silent. Not an uncomfortable silence, but a silence full of weight, meaning, and questions no one in that car knew how to form. Lily slept with her cheek resting against the cold window, the highway lights reflecting softly on her closed eyes. Claire watched her daughter the way someone watches something fragile, something that might disappear if she blinked too fast. James, focused on the road, finally broke the silence. Claire, do you believe this? The question hung in the air, suspended between the distant hum of the tires on the asphalt and the steady rhythm of Lily's breathing. Claire took a long time to answer. I don't know what I believe anymore. I just know this isn't made up. It's not imagination. She suffers when she remembers. She feels when she speaks. This is real to her. James kept driving, but there were discreet tears in his eyes. And what if it's just a phase? Of course he wanted to believe that. It was easier, safer, more rational. But Claire knew memories weren't explained so simply. James, what if it's not? He didn't answer. He didn't need to. When they arrived home, Lily woke slowly as if returning from someplace too far away. She looked around, recognized her room, and for the first time since everything began, she smiled. Mommy, I like it here. Claire felt an unexpected wave of relief. I like it here too, sweetheart. But it didn't last long. When Lily saw a toy box in the corner of the room, she walked over, opened it, and pulled out a small plastic tiara, a cheap gift she'd received months earlier. She held it between her fingers and said, I didn't have one like this. Mine was heavier. Claire closed her eyes. It was as if every detail of Lily's life was connected to something before, something determined to return. But that night, something new happened, something final. Lily called for her mother while Claire was washing the dishes. Her voice wasn't afraid. It was confused. Mommy, come here. When Claire walked into the room, she found Lily sitting on the floor in front of a drawing that sent chills through her entire body. It was a tunnel, a car, flashes, lights, and two small figures in the back seat. Two boys, drawn with childish lines, but with far too much care. Claire knelt slowly. Sweetheart, who are they? Lily stared at the drawing with deep sorrow. They waited for me. Claire gently held her daughter's hand. Do you remember them? Lily took a shaky breath. I remember my voice calling for them, and I remember the noise. Then everything went dark. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't seem traumatized. She seemed to be closing something, closing an old pain. Claire realized in that moment Lily didn't need anyone to believe her. She needed to be heard, received, understood, even if no one ever managed to explain it. In the days that followed, Lily stopped having nightmares, stopped mumbling at night, and little by little, she began to act like a normal child again. She played, laughed, asked for snacks before bed, as if some invisible cycle had finally been completed. But something still lingered. One afternoon, while drawing in the backyard, Lily asked, "Mommy, if I was someone else before, why did I come back small?" The question hurt more than any memory. Claire knelt beside her and answered with the most honest truth she could find inside herself. "Maybe because there were new things for you to live." Lily thought for a few seconds and smiled. "I like being small. It's lighter." Her words echoed in Claire's mind for weeks. Lighter. Maybe that was it. Maybe some souls, if such a thing exists, return because they need lightness. A restart. A chance to feel life again without the weight of the world. Months later, following the psychologist's recommendation, Claire and James took Lily to a therapist specializing in spontaneous childhood memories. The session lasted nearly 2 hours. Lily spoke very little, but when she did, her words left the therapist silent for long minutes. At the end, the therapist said, "Whatever the origin of these memories, the most important thing is that they're starting to fade. That's common. Spontaneous memory usually disappears around age 7. Claire asked, "And what do we do until then?" The therapist gave a gentle, understanding smile. "Just keep doing what you're already doing, being her safe place. The rest, her mind will take care of on its own." When they arrived home, Lily ran through the living room, climbed onto the sofa, grabbed her teddy bear, and started humming a song Claire had never heard before. A soft, old-sounding melody. The mother asked, "Where did you learn that song?" Lily swung her feet in the air and replied, "I don't know, Mommy. Maybe I made it up now." And she smiled. It was a free smile, present, from here, not from another life. Over time, the memories became rarer, then shorter, until they faded into distant shadows in the mind of a girl who was slowly becoming just a girl. But something stayed, not with Lily, but with Claire. The certainty that there is something in the human mind that science still cannot measure, that not everything that fades stops existing, and that some memories, even the ones that are not ours, may seek shelter for a while until they fulfill what they came to fulfill. Years later, Claire found Lily, now older, staring thoughtfully out the window. She asked, "What do you think about when you look like that?" And Lily replied, "Nothing, Mommy. I just think about the life I have now." Claire smiled, because that is all a mother could ever hope to hear. If this story touched you in any way, comment below what you believe about memories that travel through time. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to follow more stories as deep as this one. And thank you for staying until the end. You are part of this journey.